Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was released on PC and Xbox Series in December 2024 on on PS5 in April 2025, and a Switch 2 version released like 3 days ago, that is in May of 2026. It was developed by Machine Games, known for the last several Wolfenstein games, and published by Bethesda. The game uses the Motor Game Engine, which is a branch off from id Tech 7, so that's what Doom Eternal was made with. It currently has a Metacritic score of 86. Need water.
You need water for the hot take you're about to drop.
Not used to talking these many words. For the story, the tutorial level is the exact same temple that Raiders of the Lost Ark opens with. It's fairly straightforward, but I was disappointed as the game went on that there weren't any traps in the future tombs. All hallways are just hallways. So like they have him, looking at the pressure plates in that opening tomb. That never happens again. You just have pits. That's pretty much it. After the tutorial level is a hard shift to Indiana Jones returning to his college job as professor after the events of Raiders, including leaving his fiancée, Marion. The college is broken into by a giant man who steals a relic. During his getaway, he leaves behind a medallion that Indy traces back to the Vatican. There, he makes friends with a reporter named Gina. I think he had like a friend who's also not a pope, but like a bishop or something there. I forget his name. And they discover that the secret to the secret of the really big circle is a bunch of religious hotspots located in a direct line around the planet that are protected by the Nephilim Order. They then travel to Giza, Egypt, to find a holy MacGuffin that takes them to the Himalayas, and then to Shanghai, and then to Sukhothai Siam. While there, Gina gets kidnapped by the bad guy, so Indy follows them to the Ziggurat of Ur, which I think is Iraq or Iran. For visuals, the cutscenes look really, really good. Indy looks exactly how I remember him from Raiders. There was a lot of attention to detail in the mood of a lot of the cutscenes. They had the noir lighting like the old movies, or like, Raiders is trying to reference. The music swells with the action just like the movies. The pulp inspirations are palpable, and I love it. In-game visuals are mixed. Most of the textures are good. I was especially impressed by the physics of the boat Indy drives around in Suffering Succotash. It moved very realistically like a boat, but I was quickly disappointed to see how awful the draw distance was in that area. The section felt very similar to the boating sections in God of War Ragnarok, but that game had no noticeable pop-in like this game did. It was bad. Like, you could just watch trees pop in from not that far away. That leads me into my next complaint. A lot of the character animations are really rough. Indy frequently uses his whip as a swing into a wall. So he'll like whip a branch and then swing over the pit and into a wall, and then like have to like climb up that wall. It takes a noticeably long time to swing, catch himself, and then give control back to the player to tell Indy to start climbing up the wall. It's just very hard transitions. I'll get into the gameplay mechanics in a second, but the way the game is designed to be played, it was extremely sluggish to work through exploration. So for example, if I was carrying a torch while exploring a tomb and found a shiny that continues the journey, Indy would put away or drop the torch so he can grab the shiny, pick it up, and often comment on it, then put it in his satchel and either pull out the torch, or I would have to pick it up off the ground to continue on. It was even worse with weapons. Those always dropped if I wanted to pick something else up, or climb a ladder, or use my whip, or make a jump. For sound design, Troy Baker does the most convincing Harrison Ford impression ever. I cannot believe he didn't use some black magic bullshit like to sound like him. It was incredible.
It sounds like he sounded more like Harrison Ford did than Harrison Ford did in Dial of Destiny.
Oh, 100%. And probably Kingdom of the Crystal Skull too. Like, it's incredible. Besides that, I didn't really have any notes on voice acting. I had a bunch of times where there were contextual conversations. Gee whiz, I wonder where this trail will lead us. That would overlap with Indy discovering something. Yes, a dildo for the gods. I'll bring this back to the college. Marcus will want to smell it. And then if that object was the piece I needed to continue the story, both sound bites would end and suddenly they would start the dialogue of whatever the next step is. So I wouldn't hear either of the first two because the story must go on. Indy's whip sounds great, but I think there was only one sound for it. I mean, I guess it's fine, but you do whip a lot of things in the game. The music is very similar to the original movies. It really helped to tie everything together and make this feel like an indie game. I think a large part of the vibe was reliant on, how the cutscenes looked and the music used through the whole game. Moving on to gameplay. In Captain America, the First Avenger, the Mad Doctor asks Steve Rogers if he wants to kill Nazis. If you had asked me before I started playing this game, I would have quickly told you I was excited to kill Nazis as Indiana Jones. And so it turns out I'm the wrong person to be Captain America or Indiana Jones. This game is designed to be a puzzle and adventure game, and combat is supposed to be mostly avoided by stealth. Combat does not feel good. There are melee weapons that can be found lying around everywhere. These all have different durabilities indicated by a number of pips at the bottom right of the screen. They'll blink out to show how many more hits are left on that weapon. Indy has a pistol, but it is so slow to use, shoot, reload. It is only worth pulling out in a last-ditch effort. And I don't think it really saved me either. Like, every time I was like, oh, fuck, and pulled the pistol out, I still died. So you can steal guns from the enemies, but you can't reload them for some unexplained reason. So the magazine you get is all you get until you find another weapon. There's a pistol, a small machine gun, and a rifle, and every enemy takes several shots before dying. Those are like the only 3 gun types in the game. I think I could kill 3 enemies with each gun before running out, if I was being really careful. And then I would have to swap the gun to a melee weapon that would then break after 2 hits. Dogs are a somewhat common enemy, and Indy doesn't kill them. They drain so much health when they clamp on, and all Indy will do is crack his whip in their direction to make them sit in fear for a few seconds. It makes sense that Indy won't kill them because he is named after his own dog, but it really sucks to fight against so many of them. My best tactic was to whip towards them and then try to outrun them. Running is awful in this game. There's a stamina bar that is split up into sections. Clicking the left stick starts Indy into a run, which immediately burns one section of the stamina bar. Just the payment for clicking the stick. It slowly burns down the longer he runs until he is exhausted and walks very slowly until the stamina builds back up. Running, climbing, throwing punches, all take stamina. I had a bug through the entire game where Indy would stop running if he changed any kind of altitude. The slightest rock would drop him back to a walk. This would mean that I would have to click the left stick in again, which would burn yet another section of the bar immediately, so I had even less than normal stamina to run. I don't know if it was my controller or yet another bug, but I quite often would click the left stick and burn through 3 sections of the stamina bar for no apparent reason. There were 2 or 3 times it burned the entire bar off instantly. And by that point, I had increased my stamina to like 6 seconds. 6 sections at least. It was awful. I truly wonder if it was like one controller over the other one, because I have two, but I don't know why. I treat my controllers well. Like, I don't throw them or anything. Like, it just, I don't know. Bad bug. Really bad bug. Because Indiana Jones walks slowly. There are a bunch of easily found consumables in this game in the form of bandages, bread, and fruit. The bandages heal Indy's boo-boos, which he really shouldn't get because this is supposed to be played like a stealth game. I forget which does which, but I think bread gives Indy a sort of shield. Think Halo. It's a buffer before life points are actually lost. And fruit doubles up stamina sections that can't be regained until more fruit is eaten. So you have the regular stamina bar and then one over it, and that over bar is fruit. That gives you extra stamina. It's nice to have that reserve in case you have to go for a long run, but it's a really bad idea to have a full boat because literally everything burns that first section of stamina. Like, even, swinging over and climbing a wall that you have to do to continue the story just automatically burns that first bar at least. The levels in this game weren't what I was expecting. The best way I can compare it is like a level of the last couple Hitman games. One level is all one giant open world, quote unquote, that Indy is free to explore. There were 4 giant levels like that, and then 2 or 3 linear levels. The exploration is okay in this game, but it felt like an overabundance of things to collect, which could just be me. Everything added context to real-life history or clues to in-game puzzles, but it felt like it was a lot. I tried to 100% the first city, and I'm confident that wasn't possible. I needed an outfit that I could only get, a couple levels later, so I had to go back. But I quickly burnt out as the game went on and just didn't care about collecting all of the things. It felt bloated overall, which is really too bad because I thoroughly enjoyed the overarching story. It was a much better indie story than the last 2 movies. And I like those movies, but this is better than those. There are collectibles called Ancient Relics that I swear look dildo-ish. I finally found out what they are for in the second to last level. They're buttons or levers that you insert into a puzzle and turn. I guess those are hidden all through the game, but I don't know. I only found that one. The costume I mentioned before helps Indy get into places he doesn't belong. There's, 4 to 6 costumes in the game. They help him get into places that he doesn't belong, unless there's a captain of the bad guys there, because they can see through his disguises somehow. They're just like, hey, wait a minute, you're not a priest of the Vatican. With really no explanation. I got a weird feeling playing this game because the characters or the story would refer to the fascists what felt like 90% of the time. I'm not really sure why the writers made the distinction so clearly. I kind of looked into it, and all I found was a small scandal around the DLC being announced right around a certain event that happened in America, and Bethesda had to beg and plead to the masses that the things weren't related. But that was all I found. They say Nazi sometimes, but usually only referring to the actual bad guy, Voss. The only thing I can come up with is that some of the bad guys in the levels aren't Germans. There are some Italians or whatever, but I'm confident old school World War II pulp did not make that distinction. The Axis powers were referred to as dead Nazis for short. So, I don't know. Weird feeling. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just weird. I can't see your face because I'm reading my script. Are you making funny faces? Are you about to call me dumb and gay because they did a dumb and gay thing?
No, I'd have to see how it was implemented. Because like theoretically, if it was in certain locations, it would have been like way more of like, it's Stalin's Italians or whatever. It's like maybe there's something there, but It definitely does seem a little odd.
Yeah, that's really all it was, is like, it doesn't seem wrong. In fact, it seems more accurate. It's just weird.
Yeah, especially because like Indiana Jones is primarily a very over the top pulpy thing.
Exactly.
It's not really known for particularly
historical accuracy.
well, yeah, historical accuracy or like really niche actual politics to it. It's pretty general. I don't know. These guys all seem pretty fucking shit and like anti-human. We should get rid of them because they're ass. Like
Yeah.
it's not. We're not getting into the specific policies of various fascistic states.
Exactly.
So, like, that's a
All
little
right,
odd.
Cool. Skills are powered up with books that Indy can find or buy from
Hell
vendors.
yeah.
He buys them with money he has straight up stolen from the fascists, or with medicine bottles that he has found. In each large level, there is someone that begs you to steal medicine that the locals need that the bad guys won't release or have stolen or whatever. Indy has a camera and he takes pictures of literally anything interesting. These pictures give him action points to actually buy the skills unlocked from books. This system doesn't make any fucking sense. Indy can also get action points from finding newspaper clippings or anything else to throw in his journal. The clues for the puzzles, like, it all racks up. I think I had 6,000 action points and no books left by the end of my playtime. Indy's journal is laid out really, really well. It is kind of like Saga's caseboard in Alan Wake 2. I'm impressed by your restraint. Any mission Indy is tracking is listed on the left. There's a map in the middle and more details, pictures, clues, etc. on the right, and they can be clicked through more. But I didn't find those extra details to really explain things any better. Like, if anything, you could pull up the picture that you took and it's really, really tiny and you can't see any details. It's like, well, that doesn't help me figure out this puzzle I'm looking at because I can't even see the fucking picture I took of it. In closing, to be fair, I went into this game with expectations that were different from what it was. I wasn't expecting Wolfenstein. That wouldn't have fit the Indiana Jones vibe very well. But I was expecting Uncharted, and I got like OG Tomb Raider 1. Slow and methodical exploration, shitty combat, cool story, but overall kind of outdated gameplay. Maybe not outdated, just very slow and methodical.
I mean, even just the fact that it transitions between first and third person for some things is just like such a weird thing for my brain to comprehend.
I hadn't seen a sale on this game after an entire year, which I think is intentional because Xbox exclusive on PlayStation. So I finally bit the bullet because I was really hyped. $90 for the full game, DLC, and art book is about $50 of regret.
Yee.
I haven't gotten to the DLC yet. I actually didn't finish the game. I was supposed to yesterday and I didn't. I will probably crack it open at the very least, but it has been such a chore to finish this game. Gameplay just feels like an actual butt with a steering wheel.